Right, so looks like we are live. I'm just waiting for the live to pop up. Make sure that the feed is going. Perfect. Here we go. All right, hey y'all, and welcome to the third Joy of 3D Art. Today, we're going to be sculpting this Pokemon, known as Metagross to the Pokemon community, and actually anyone who's ever played Pokemon past, I think, Gen 3. So we're going to be working on this Metagross today. If you don't have a drawing tablet, that's okay. You can do complete sculpting with a mouse and keyboard if you want. I, however, have a nice drawing tablet that I use for all of these live streams. But if you want a cheap drawing tablet, you can check the link in the description to a video where I review 2 of the cheapest drawing tablets out there. That'll help follow along if you're, joining after the live stream has been live. So, without any further ado, we are going to go ahead and get started. Now, this object, this Metagross, if you will, has 4 parts to it. It has eyes, which are basically just giant black spheres with some red circles in it. The X pattern for the nose, I guess. It's kind of like a nose for this rock monster. And then the legs, which is actually just one object with a mirror modifier, and the body itself. Oh, and I guess there's 5 because there's the claws. So we're going to be creating all 5 of these pieces today, and then doing the sculpting and the retoping in today's video. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Ravage Shot and Disman guys, boy. Heyo, welcome to the stream. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so the first thing we want to do is basically just shut down our 2 active collections here with our, example projects in it. My mom is behind you. She is not. Increase the audio, you say. Okay, let me go ahead, decrease. Is that better, Jaren? Thank you for the tip there. Is that better as far as the increase in audio? I just had the heater running today, and I didn't want the audio to be picking that up because, yeah, it's like -8 today, which is not fantastic and not fun. So, if you've got yourself a drawing tablet, go ahead and put on your little tablet guard here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's make sure we have screencast keys on. They are. And we're going to create a new collection here. And I'm just going to create a plane. So this plane is something that I've already had in the scene. This is going to simulate our ground Disman Geese, but it's okay. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Disman Geese. So, you remind me of the YouTuber War Owl? Interesting. I'll have to check it out. Check him out. So we have a plane here. This is going to serve as our ground just to give ourselves some height reference for, when the object is final. But let's go ahead and name that collection that we added Metagross. Okay. So to add in our Metagross, we're going to just add in our real quick couple of objects. So the first one we're going to add is Shift A and add in a cylinder. This will serve as the body, so go ahead and name it body. Now for this cylinder, what we need to do is move this, actually, let's go back into object mode and move it up. Something like that looks fine. Switch to that front view here, and we're going to scale this down on the Z-axis to right about there. Now that's a little high, so let's say we want the middle of the body to be right about there, I think. Well, that'll work. Okay, and then hit Control A and apply that scale because we scaled it in edit mode, or in object mode, sorry. So to go ahead and model the body, let's jump over to the modeling tab here and grab the top and bottom face. And I'm going to go ahead and hide the plane because right now we don't need it. Then hit numpad period to zoom in, and we'll hit I to inset the faces, and we'll take it to right about there. From here, we can also hit I again, and then hold Control, and it'll pull out the top and bottom piece. and then let go of control, and we can kind of get the right shape that we want. Now the top and bottom are going to be different, so at this point we're just going to move this up a little bit, and I think I'll scale it out just a bit further. This will come up as well, scale out a bit more, and you know what? Let's actually move this down right about there, because this will give us a nice little line for where the arms are going to stop, and we'll in a set eye again and pull this up, push it in maybe like that, and then I think that'll help with our sculpting. Okay, so there we go. We have the base Metagross body. It's pretty good, and we're done. So back to layout, and what we want to do now is add in a cube. Now this cube is going to serve as the base for our legs. So we don't want to add it at the point of origin. We want to hit tab, look at our model here, something like the 45-degree angle, select the edge right here on that 45-degree angle, and Shift S, cursor to selected. Now when we do this, now we can add in a cube. So we'll add on our cube here. We can go ahead and scale it down. Doesn't have to be there. Doesn't have to be very big. Hit Control A and apply the scale. Now we're going to go over to the modeling workspace again, and already we have all of those vertices selected and edges selected and everything, but we don't need them. So hit M and merge them towards the center. That's going to give us a single vertex there in the center, and make sure that you are in vertex select mode up in the top left. Try to make an anime girl. It'll be a great fan service. We could try to make an anime girl. I'll put it down on the list. I don't want to do... It'll probably be a monster girl, if you're okay with that. Just because I don't like making people. It's not something I enjoy. And I'm getting a little warning here from... Okay, well, the warning is fine. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so now that we have a single vertex here, what we want to do is add in a couple of modifiers. So the first modifier we want to add into, by coming over to the wrench icon on our properties panel, is we want to add in a skin modifier, which will create a little cube for us. And then we want to add in a subdivision surface modifier, which will kind of smooth out everything. And then we're also going to create a mirror modifier, but for now, let's just turn off the mirror on the x-axis, and we can actually just turn it off from being viewported right now, because we just want to create the first shape before we put our mirror modifier on there. Okay, now look at this from the front, and we're going to turn on X-ray up here at the top right. Make sure you have that vertex selected, and hit E and extrude out. Now, this has moved our root vertex away from the original position, and we want it back here. So click on this vertex in the back here and go to the skin modifier and mark root. Alright, and from here, let's just go ahead and subdivide. So grab both of those vertices and subdivide here. And what we're actually going to do is, let's go ahead and grab both of these and hit GG, which will move them closer together, and then just the endpoint and hit GG, because we're going to grab and create a little sphere here, which will serve as the ball joint for Metagross's arms. Sorry. It's so cold out there that my throat is dry and like really sore. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and grab everything again with A and hit Control A and kind of scale down that mesh there. And maybe, you know what, maybe we just move it a little bit back here, and then we could just scale these in. And there we go. That's going to give us our nice little round ball there, roughly on the pivot point. I'm just going to position it a little bit better. So there we go. All right, and then we have our little sphere ball, spherical joint, and we're good. From here, we're going to draw out the arm on our Metagross. So the actual arm is really just a straight shot, and there we go, just like that. But because it needs to be definitely a part of the of the arm and not the ball, what we need to do is grab both of those vertices again and subdivide, and then hit F9 to pull up your operator panel and increase that number of cuts to 2. From here, let's go ahead and move the 2 vertices that we added towards each end, and then grab them and then hit Control A. This will shrink down the arm to be a much more manageable size, and then we can see we have a distinction in the sphere that we have. We can actually even adjust this a little bit more and create more of a little sphere here. So I just scaled up the Control A skin modifier in the middle here and moved the second vertex closer to the beginning of the arm. All right, and from here we are going to create the actual bulk of what he has. So we're going to go up to create the top part and up again, which will give us the little overhang piece. And then we're going to go down and just forward a little bit, something like that, and down again. We don't have to take it all the way, but there we go. Now this is just a starter, so what we need to do now is grab that little vertex that we have there and mark it as loose, which gives us a nice little round spherical creation here, and this vertex is used more as like a jumping off point rather than a place to wrap mesh tightly around. It's a really neat technique when using the skin modifier. Now we have a plane sitting down here at the bottom, so we want to take this almost to that red line plane. We're going to take it to right about there, I think, maybe right there. Just because we're going to have some claws, and those claws are going to stand on top of the plain ground that we have. Okay? And then with this last vertex selected, just hit Control A, scale this sucker out. And I'm just going to scale it out a little bit further, maybe something like that. Now it does look a little weird, that's okay. What we'll do is just grab in and subdivide and create a new vertex and drag it down by hitting GG. And then we want to make sure that these are perfectly up and down from each other. So grab both of these vertices and hit Scale, X, 0. And that brings both of these, so now they are in a perfect line, top and bottom. And I'm even just going to move this up on the Z-axis to give us a little bit more space to work with here. Zoom in on this section. And we're going to subdivide these 2 vertices, or this edge between them. And F9 again, we'll get 2 cuts in here. Scale them apart a little bit and hit Control A and pull them out. This is going to serve as a nice little barrier for us, that nice little lip that Metagross has. And so we should have something that looks like this right about now. Alright, and we're almost done with the base mesh here. We are going to create the object for the claws though, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's grab that bottom vertex and then hit Shift S, cursor to selected, go back to object mode and add in another cylinder. This cylinder will serve, like I said, for the claws. So we can go ahead and just immediately scale it down and name it claws. And take this moment to name our leg, leg. Alright, now back into the legs, what we need to do is finish making the shape. So let's look at this from the right hand side, and we're going to scale some things out a little bit. So I'm going to grab that, look at it from the right, Control A, bring it out just a bit, and then you know what? Looks like we need to add a subdivision here. Move this up closer. There we go. Control A that in, just a tad. And then we want to thin this out. So we're going to Control A and then X to thin it out on the X-axis. And then maybe we'll thin this out a little on the X-axis as well. So without X-ray, this is what our leg is looking like. That pretty much matches what we know Metagross's leg to be. So, you know, we should be good. Not sure why we're getting some notifications there, but that's okay. Alright, so we have the leg basically modeled here. I'm going to go ahead and just scale it down a bit. Oh, let's not do that because we have the claws in the exact center. So you know what we'll do? We'll go ahead and parent the claws to the leg, and then now I guess we can go ahead and scale it down a bit. And then, you know what, maybe we move both of these down a little, scale it back up, and right about there, I think. That'll be fine. Okay, so now that we've got our skin modifier basically done, we will get the rest of the base shape in sculpting. So we're going to go ahead and apply our skin modifier. Go ahead and apply it, and we'll apply our subdivision surface modifier, leaving our mirror modifier in place. And here what we're going to do is mirror across the X and Y axis. But for the X and Y axis, we're actually going to mirror it across the body object and not the, the object's point of origin, as is the default for the mirror object. So from here, it's really easy. We're just going to rotate this along the Z axis, giving ourselves like a nice little spider piece here. And we're going to move this in just a little bit, say to a little bit in on the X, a little bit in on the Y, just so that it's like actually intersecting the body. This will help when we actually get into the sculpting part on the body, because Metagross's shoulders aren't actually shoulders in the way that we would think of them. They are more like cutouts where these balls just kind of roll around and move in. Which is kind of weird when you think about it, but we're just not going to think about it. It's a Pokemon. There's only so much you can do. All right, get that positioning just right. I think that's going to be okay. Maybe we need to move this out. Let's actually take a look at the normals. Can I move this out a little bit? Yeah, let's move this out a little bit on the X-axis, the normal X-axis. There we go. And I think that's good. So roughly half of the ball needs to be inside the body there, but now we've got the legs. Okay, and before we go any further, what we want to do is add in that X. So we need to add in the X, but Metagross's middle part here is far too large. So let's go ahead, grab this, and then hit Control Numpad Plus, and scale these down on the global Z to right about there. And then Control Numpad Minus, just to get this, this original thing here. And then we're going to scale Shift Z just to scale it in on the X and Y a bit. Oh, let's turn this back to global. And there we go. All right, and I think that's a better proportioned out body. So now we can make the X, and it's going to fit just a bit better. So look at this from the front, and let's go ahead and create the X object. So what we'll do is grab this edge here, Shift Select, cursor to selected, and add in a cube. Now the cube is far too large, so we'll drop this down. Let's go ahead, name this the X. I'm just going to put X there because that's pretty much all it is. You could name it nose because that's kind of the purpose that it serves, but that's up to you. Okay, and now what we need to do is go into edit mode, scale this in on the Y axis, just so it's really, really thin. And then we're going to rotate it on the X so that it's kind of like that. And then let's go ahead and rotate this on the normals from here. So we're going to rotate it along the normal Y axis, something like that will be okay. And then scale it on the normal Z axis, something like that. And then scale it in on the normal X axis, giving us the perfect little X there. All right, and then I'm going to move it up on the Z. Move it over on that X. And there we go. I think that's actually going to be okay. That's our first little X here. But let's go ahead and add in a mirror modifier. And we can just mirror this across the, the standard X-axis should be fine. But let's go ahead and apply the rotation. and the scale. And so we have our X. There we go. And we're going to just position this a little bit better, something like that. Yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, so now what we need to do is create the little underbite for this X pattern. So the, the top piece is kind of done. We just need the underbite for the X. So let's hit Control R, select, and add in a single loop cut right about at the base, right about here. Right, something, and if we don't get it perfect, you can hit GG and move it along the edge and get it right about there. Okay, now from here, I'm going to move this in on the normal Z. So take it to right about there. I think that'll be handy. And then we're going to grab this vertex right here, or this face right here, and we want to move it along the global Y. So GY, move this in, and you know what? For this purposes, what we're going to do is add in another edge loop and move this face along the GY as well. And let's hide the legs just so we can get a little bit better view here. Move this GY. Get a little bit of a curve there. And then, maybe not so much of a curve. And then we're going to take this face, hide the ground, zoom in on the face. And let's change our position to view, just so I think this is going to be a good rotational point for this. And let's go ahead and grab this whole section and then rotate it. There we go. Just move it over a little bit. And then we're going to grab this one face and just extrude. Move it up on the Z, the global Z, something like that. Change that back to normals. And there we go. Now, that's not perfect, but it's close, and that's all we really need to do is get close, because we're also going to sculpt this. So if it looks a little weird, you don't have to worry about it. It will be sculpted together when everything is said and done. Kind of push that in. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, we only have to get one side because it'll mirror the other. Rotate that a little bit. Cool. And just adjusting some final positioning, but yeah, that's good. All right, so we have our X, we have our legs. If we don't like that, maybe we get rid of the mirror modifier. Maybe we rotate this on the Y-axis just a little bit. Give ourselves a little bit more there. Once again, hit Control A and apply the rotation. And then add in our mirror modifier, giving us a much closer approximation. I think that'll be fine. Let's look at this from the front. It is off center though. So let's just bring it back to the center. And we can check the properties here. Just make sure the X location is 0, or whatever the X location of your body object is. Okay. And from here, it's time to get sculpting. So we're going to start with the legs because that's where a lot of the bulk work exists. So we'll get started with that. And so just grab your leg objects. We're going to go ahead and hide the body, hide the X, and we can leave the claws, I guess. They're really not going to bother us. And then we're going to go to the sculpting pane. From here, we're going to go ahead and just turn off the mirroring in the 3D viewport by clicking the little, I guess, render desktop icon. It's like a monitor. And let's hit numpad period to focus in. We're going to turn on symmetry on the Y-axis instead of the X-axis because this is based on the Y. So we can get rid of the X there, and we're going to turn on dynamic topology. From dynamic topology, make sure we have subdivide collapse and brush detail turned on, and go ahead and right click, and we just want the radius and the strength to be paired. Now, if you don't like sculpting like this, where you got the strength and radius like unified with all of the brushes. That's okay. This is just, you know, something that I really enjoy, because as you swap between brushes, you don't want to have to like remember what that strength was and then end up going too strong. You kind of just like have a general knowledge of how strong something is. So from here, we're going to go ahead and select the inflate brush and drop the strength down by hitting Shift F to about a 2.2. And then we'll drop the radius of our brush size down kind of small and just inflate all of our mesh. All right, and you want to make sure that you cover basically every vertex that was created. You can see that dynamic topology is starting to generate new faces for us. This is as it should be. All right, and then we'll check the bottom, make sure this is also getting some dynamic topology treatment. There we go. And once you've covered every vertex, it's time to smooth this out. So just hold Shift with the inflate brush and smooth. And you're still going to get this kind of blocky look, but that's okay. The next step for us will be grabbing each of these faces and everything and pulling out the general shape a little bit better than we had it from our base modifier. Alright, now we've kind of smoothed everything out. So let's go ahead and just, oh, kind of went crazy there. Let's go ahead and shape this out. So go ahead and grab either the elastic deform brush or the grab tool. I'm going to use the elastic deform, just I think it's going to help us kind of generate a much better feel overall. We're just going to keep the same radius size, and then we'll pull out certain sections apart, and we'll push some others in. There we go. All right, I kind of think that's kind of the shape that we're looking for. Yeah. Alright, and now we're going to switch over to the grab brush here, just for some final edits. I'll push this in a little bit because this is much more of a... And then we don't want it to be a thumb, we want it to be kind of flat, so we'll flatten that out a little bit. Flatten it out on the top as well. Alright, and there we go, we have our top piece. Kind of pull this in just a little bit. And I don't like it coming out so far in the back here, so we'll kind of take that down. And I'm just going to pull out, like, these are the sections where his little rock calves are going to be. Okay, so it'll just be a little bit wider, something like that. We'll get in there with some actual detail with the clay strips brush in a minute. Okay, so it looks like we are good to go. So let's go ahead and grab the clay strips brush, and we're going to drop our radius of our brush way down. And the reason for that is that when you're working with dynamic topology and you're laying on some clay strips, you get some really weird things that happen with the geometry if it's too large and it'll like try to go to these back faces. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You know. So we're going to make sure that our radius is small enough so that what we can do is just come in here and create for ourselves the little like rock shin guards, I guess you could call it, that are on the front of our Metagross face. So there are two. There's one that goes kind of from right here. Let's actually turn on. I want to see annotations. There we go. So we're going to have one that's going to like go from here to here, something like that. And then it will connect. Well, I guess let's change up our annotation here because that's not going to help anybody. Let's put this not at the 3D cursor. Let's put this on the surface of whatever we're drawing on. So it's going to go from here to here, roughly. And then we have for real? Here to here. And then what we'll do is we'll take the second one and it'll kind of go from here all the way to the bottom and then connect with the pieces going around. Okay, so we're going to add in the clay strips just to kind of complement those two areas. So let's go ahead and go back to the clay strips brush and just add in enough to pop it off and kind of make its own little platform. Now you could use the layer brush for this as well, but I'm just going to use the clay strips. I think this will work like decently enough. And I'm going to jack the strength up just a little bit so I'm not sitting there for ages. Let's just check this from the side. That's looking pretty good, I think. Take the whole thing, try to get some uniform sections here. But the bottom should be a little higher up. So we're just going to take it and maybe go to midpoint. Yeah, that's okay. We are going to scrape some of that away anyway. So just for real quick, just go ahead and kind of smooth off that section and you're okay. Alright, and then I'm going to take and kind of hold control with the clay strips brush and just kind of pull away some of that area, smooth it down. And that's going to give us the first of our shin guards. Don't worry, we're not going to be completely done with that. This is just the mapping out. And for the second one, I'm going to take the bottom, go all the way to the end. I'm going to make this one a little bit wider too. It's kind of like a big blocky shin guard for him. It'll taper off towards the bottom there, or the top there. Make sure we've got that coming in. That looks good, I think. Okay, and now we know this is connecting, so what we're going to do is just going to go around the top with the clay strips brush, making sure that the faces are like connecting. So we're going to go around the top and the sides. We're going to leave the bottom alone. We don't need to do anything with the bottom. And we're just going to kind of round it out as we go. So adding a little bit more clay in the center so that when we smooth it down, it's kind of going to round out for us. Will be a little nice. There we go. Just kind of smooth that down. Take it over. And you can see it's starting to kind of do that thing I was mentioning before with the clay strips. So we'll be a little bit more careful as we go around. And thanks to that mirroring, we don't have to worry about anything on the other side, which is really, really nice. And we'll just smooth it all down. Now that we've got the basic shape here, make sure this all smooths together. Alright, and we have the first of our shin guards kind of mapped out, but it didn't come away far enough, so let's just use the grab tool here. I just want to pull this out along the face, because it should come out like it should come out a decent way, I think. There we go. That's definitely going to be better. Alright, we are almost at the point where we can stop sculpting in symmetry, because the rock, like calf muscles, I guess you would call them that, are not symmetrical. So we're going to need to turn off the symmetry sculpting for this, but let's just finish and getting like the decent shape. smooth all that down a little bit. There we go. All right, and then real quick, let's just go ahead and define this. I'm going to grab the crease brush, make sure the fall off is set to either root or sharp. I think I'll choose sharp in this case. And we're just going to go along the outside line here and just crease in for ourselves this. So like, hey, we know this is where the shin guard stops. There we go. Something like that. And we know that it's going to go around the back, so we'll go ahead and crease in along the sides as well. Cool. Yeah, that's going to give us just a little bit of knowledge on like where we're going to direct our sculpts. That's fine. I think we're good. I think we're ready. Okay, so now we can go ahead and turn off symmetry. Go ahead and make sure you save your Blender, and let's get started with the right hand side here. So once again, we'll grab that clay strips brush, and this one is going to go all the way to the bottom, so we'll kind of just map out like a blocky, you know, rock face, so something like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be uniform. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. And you can see that I'm just going to fill in this area with the clay strips. And then we're going to try to define some of those edges that we created a little bit more by just adding on some extra mesh there and getting those angles right. The angles here is the most important part, because Metagross's legs are not smooth, they are definitely blocky, and so we need to have some type of angles to work off of when we scrape in and make sure those things are flat. Alright, and then I'm going to take this a little bit higher. We'll take the top just a little bit higher. That's probably too high. Just take that down a little bit. And smooth out the top there, and the sides, and the bottom. And we need to make sure we get that angle in there. So, making sure I just add enough clay so we can scrape away and it's going to be just fine. I'll add in that angle again. Okay. And you know what? We'll add in another one right here. Another little platform. Okay, and now let's go in with the crease brush and just kind of crease in like we did for the sides. We're going to crease in where we know, hey, this is going to be the end of the rock out extrusion. So this will help start picking our angles and really defining them. So we can see we got a sharp line there. Sharp line going down here. Taking that sharp line at the top. Something like that. Alright, and then up here we'll also map out this little part. So come in here, crease these. And you know what? I'm going to hold control when I crease, and we'll go from the bottom to the bottom angle. Just kind of give us an extra little step up here. And then we're going to outline the top faces, doing the same thing. So hold control with the crease brush, and we're just going to outline up the different angles. There we go, something like that. Outline up the top of this rock face. And no two Metagrosses are the same, no two rock faces are the same, so mark it up however you want. Can you find this stream saved later? Art Fate, yes, you absolutely can. All of these Joy of Art 3D live streams are available on the channel after it finishes processing after the upload. So absolutely make sure you're subscribed, check out the channel later, and you'll be able to find this stream. All right, and let's go ahead. Just we'll take this here, mark it here. There we go. I'm going to crease over. And we'll crease up the top here. Crease out the bottom. There we go. Boom. Just like that. All right, so we're really just getting in here and outlining out our rocks. I kind of outlined that one wrong, so we'll just take this full all the way in. Don't worry, that'll look better by the time we're done with it. Okay, and the last crease, I think, will go right here. Okay, so we've got our creases kind of outlined and everything, but now we need to scrape it into the actual position. So grab the scrape tool and go up to the brush settings at the top. From the brush settings at the top, what we want to do is change the sculpt plane to view plane. By default, it is set to area plane, and then we're going to increase the hardness to 0.5. All right, and what that's going to let us do is look at this from an angle, and then with our scrape tool, we're just going to be able to scrape away the mesh that we don't want to exist. And this will help us, because it's in the viewing angle, as long as you don't change your view while you're scraping, this will help really smooth out the stone area. There we go. Right, and so we kind of see, here we go, that's basically smoothed out. We can take this and also scrape along the edge. Now you could do the same thing with the flatten brush, but I find that the scrape brush here works wonders instead. All right, and then we're just going to repeat that process for all of the rest of the angles. Don't feel bad if your angles are a little weird, or if you scrape away and you've got too much rock face. That's okay, we'll fix it. Like right here, that looks a little weird, but what we can do is like come in with the crease brush, crease out that angle again, fix up the top, there we go. And then with the fill and deepen brush, we can actually just fill in this area, and it will go back up and kind of smooth out towards this chunk of rock that we have. And then we can just smooth it out. And we can smooth out that crease just a little bit. And there we go. We have a pretty solid rock face. And we can get back to scraping for the rest of them. Also, if you scrape too much, you have the ability to use the peaks brush, which is just the control of this one. Smooth this down just a little bit so I can see what's going on here, and so let's scrape this all the way. There we go. Okay, from the top, Scrape this down. That's getting closer. There we go. And you know what? Let's change our fall off to constant. Let's see if how that'll help us out. Definitely worth it. There we go. Yeah. And we're way upside down, so let's look at this from the front and readjust our angle here. And just scrape away. Scrape all your problems away. And there we go. All right. Okay. And from this angle, I'm going to just use the peaks tool to kind of fill in this area a little bit. Alright, and we'll just smooth this down. Alright, yeah, just creating nice little rock faces here. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be what you're looking for. Alright, we're going to scrape this one a slightly different way. Then we'll scrape the other side. So, I'm going to scrape this top one here, give it a little bit more of a curve and descent, and then look at it from a different angle and scrape this side. And that should, if everything is working out like I want it to, give us kind of a two-toned face here. And that didn't quite do what I wanted to, but there is some definition there. So let's go ahead and just scrape it a little bit more to get a little bit more of that angle. It's okay. Yeah, there we go. That's definitely a little bit closer to what I wanted. One more pass over it should give us what I'm looking for. All right. There we go. We have one calf muscle. Does it look weird? Yeah, but it's okay. It's a rock formation. I'm okay with it, and if I'm okay with it, well, that's all that matters. It's the joy of 3D art, not the perfection of 3D art. All right, now what we're going to do is just kind of pinch up these areas. So grab the pinch tool and pinch these down. So that way we're going to get a nice, perfect little crease here. It's going to really define out the section. We'll pinch this little crease down here as well, and let's do a little bit of smoothing on the outside of our rock formation. Just kind of smooth all of this area out and make sure we pinch it in. Okay, then go ahead and create our little pinch crease here. If it's not a good enough crease, you can go ahead and add in that crease brush and just really define the crease. There we go. And we'll smooth out everything up to there so that the crease is really defined, but it doesn't look like it's too far out. We're going to add an edge here just by pinching these together. Again, that's not super well defined. So crease tool. There we go. We're going to smooth the faces on both sides. All right, pinch this little rock piece together. There we go. Alright, we'll just smooth these out. Let's actually go at this with a scrape brush because I apparently forgot this face. Alright, we're just going to crease on the little edge there. Maybe we'll crease on a little extra thing. Cool. Pinch tool. Good morning, John Phipps. How you doing today? All right. Alright, so let's come in here with the pinch tool here. Pinch ourselves an edge. And we'll also add the edge here. I'm just going to have two edges, so let's drop our brush here. Alright, and it looks like that one is good as far as different pinches. So let's go ahead and save and go to the other side. Okay, so with the other side, this one is not going to connect all the way to the bottom. Ah, Fisherman John. It's been a while, man. How have you been? Yeah, I've been seeing you in the Discord a lot more lately. Alright, so we've got the one. The second one isn't going to be all the way down at the bottom. We're actually going to take this one, and I think it's going to go like here-ish. So I'm kind of going to just map out where I want. I think something like this. I kind of see that forming there. Something there. There we go. Something like that is going to be what we do. So let's get that started. Once again, clay strips, and we'll just sculpt out those edges. Oh man, so you've been busy then. I'm gonna bring this back up. Let's. Well, we're definitely doing these live streams every 2 weeks. We're gonna do a bunch of different things. You know, we've already done 3. Well, this is episode 3, so we've already done 2. The first one was a double-bladed axe. The second one was the house one. So, you know, we're working on things. Hope you stick around and join often. But every 2 weeks, Saturday, 9:30. I don't know how long we're going to do these. We're definitely going to at least do... I'm not trying to do them all year. But I may have to cut that a little short in September, but we're going to go at least until September, I think. Alright, I'm just going to add an extra little platform here in the center that all of these are kind of going to go up to, so it won't be too bad. I don't have to get too crazy with it. Yeah, there we go. I did use the annotation brush to plan that part, yeah. Alright, so now we've got the base shape kind of outlined. Let's smooth her down just a little bit. Okay. And I want to beef up this section here because I don't want it to be too close to the calf. So just do one more once over. Yeah, the annotation tool is really fun and really useful for marking out your, your projected drawings and everything. It's going to be really handy when we get into retopology later on in the episode. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. All right, so we've got those mapped out. Let's go in and grab our scrape tool. Now for the scrape tool again, we're just going to have the same settings as before where the brush is in the view mode, view plane, and we're just going to scrape it down. You haven't done any retopology? Well, we're going to do some retopology today. So if you want to follow along and get into sculpting and create your own version of Metagross, there'll be some full retopology work in this series that you can follow along with. It's pretty simple, it's just a little tedious. All right, look at that. Yeah, there we go. Just want to take that all the way to the end here. Let's go ahead and smooth out this one too. There we go. All right. And last little section here, we'll just scrape away. And for the top, one last scrape. There we go. Alright, so now we can look at this from the side and just kind of scrape away all of these tops here, just kind of flatten it out. Alright, something like that. Okay, I'm just going to come in with the clay strips. I just want to beef this up a little bit more before we scrape it down into position. Okay. And you know what? We're going to piece this up a little bit. So, there we go. Yeah. Build up that section. There we go. Sorry. Whoops. Let's go this way. Gotta go back to work in about an hour and a half. Man, not fun. mean, I'm working right now, so, you know, I feel your pain a little bit. But my work is hanging out with you guys. And for that, I'm grateful that you guys would be here and spending your Saturday mornings with me, or Saturday evenings, depending on where you're at in the globe. Alright, now we can kind of smooth out these areas and get in there with a crease brush to really define them. Okay, cool. So let's get in here with the crease brush then. Drop our radius down a little bit. And we will crease around the base here for some real definition. Smooth around the outside. How often is work slow enough that you can sketch? All right, we'll take a little crease in there and mark out these outside edges, holding control with the crease brush. Usually it's slow during the week, but not today. You forgot it was Saturday. All these days are blending into each other. Yeah, man. I get that. If there wasn't 4 inches of snow and it wasn't -8 outside, I would still feel like we were in last March. Okay, there we go. There we go. Just add this little funky little pattern in there. And boom. Alright, now let's go ahead and smooth out the top of all of these faces. Oh, I'm currently in Minnesota. Hoping to not be by October, but yeah, currently I'm in Minnesota. And we'll come in with the fill and deepen brush here just to kind of fill in this area. No, I am looking to go to Virginia, I think. Is where my wife and I are planning. But we'll see how that plays out. We've never actually been to Virginia. We've just done some house shopping and taken a look at demographic information and everything. And so we think that's going to be a fun place for us. But we don't know. However, my wife does want to eventually potentially write for like Netflix or a video game or whatever, so there may be some possibility of us going to California in the future. I'm not ruling it out, but I don't particularly want to live in Cali. Not that I have anything against it, but all my family's on the East Coast, so it wouldn't make a ton of sense to move all the way over there. Yeah, I don't know if Virginia's peaceful or not. I guess we'll find out. All right. That is going to be good enough. So let's go ahead, grab the pinch tool here and pinch out our actual edges. And if they don't come in good enough, we'll grab the crease brush and put them there manually. So this is the leg of Metagross. He has some really weird looking rock calf muscles. They're not, you know, they don't move, so I can't really call them calf muscles, I guess, but they're like where his calves would be. And these were the most complicated part, so we started with them. Just pinching all these sections in. And pinching all this is going to do wonders for us when we actually get into Retopology, because it'll be very clear where our edges are. Alright, and let's just turn on smooth shading, see what that looks like smoothed out. You have some issues over here. So I'm just going to grab the overall smooth brush. Draw my radius down a bit. And we're just going to smooth out the leg. Some of the weird stuff going on over here. Okay, there we go. The leg is looking pretty good. So now let's finish the shin guard that we have here. We're going to use the pinch brush again. Actually, you know what? We need to scrape first. So let's get down to business. And actually, we'll undo that because what we're doing now can be mirrored again because this was all mirrored before. So turn back on symmetry, and we're going to get smooth down and work on the parts of the mesh that should be symmetrical. So for scraping, we're going to look at this from the side and just scrape into our shin guard. And we can see that it's looking a lot better now. So now we'll scrape the top and smooth this out. Alright, and now what we want to do is kind of flatten this out so that the top is flat. So we're going to grab the flatten brush here, and we're going to set the stroke fall off to constant. And I want the brush to be sculpting on the Z plane. So that way when we sculpt, it'll just flatten down. Alright, so now that's looking pretty flat. So we can kind of take that and go all the way around with it. Alright, and we'll smooth off some of that intersection. And smooth up the sides. And then we'll hit the bottom. Just all of this needs to be flat. There we go. Alright, doesn't have to be perfect. It's a piece of rock, you know? There we go. But I am going to add just a little bit of a crease around the base here. Alright, and once again, in with the pinch brush, just to kind of lightly pinch along. It's okay if we don't get it perfect. Alright, and we're going to finish up the final touches up here. Once again, scrape on that angle. Alright, and that is pretty much it. We can add a little crease around here just around the backside. Doesn't really matter though. Yeah, and I am good with that leg, so let's go back to the layout. Bring back the body, and we can view this. Here we go. All right, and just like that, we have our legs complete. So let's click on the body, and we will sculpt the body basically the same way. But this is going to be pretty simple. It's really just going to be sculpting on or increasing the mesh density by inflating, pulling out the sections for the shoulders to kind of slide into, and then scraping away to make it look like a rock. But that's pretty much it. And if you don't like the legs, you can always go back and fix them. But I think I've done 4 or 5 different versions of this, and each time the legs look different. And I haven't decided which one was my favorite. So back into dynamic topology, and for immediately, we'll just go ahead and turn on the X and Y axis. Hit I to bring up the inflate tool, and make sure our strength is down around 8.2, and then just real quickly go over everything, just kind of inflate it all. There we go. Just increase our mesh density everywhere. Yeah, definitely share his page. All right, there we go. So for this, what we can kind of do is just real quick, let's map out where the shoulder joint needs to go. So we know it needs to cover from here to here to here, something like that. And we'll take it all. I think it's supposed to go all the way to the bottom, but I won't take it all the way to the bottom. We'll let the shoulder joints kind of stop there. All right, so we have a square that we are going to carve out. Let's go ahead and hide the legs now. And we're going to use the layer brush here, just because I think this might be quicker. Oh, that's clay strips. Sorry, we need the layer. And we want to hold control and just go in. Don't pick your mouse up from this. Just take it all the way around. Make sure you cover every little section in here. While you're holding control, because this is going to take it all to the same depth, and then you just do it again. And this will take it all the way in, so we'll map it all the way around. But if you pick up your brush, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to make this uniform. So, all right, we'll take a look at it. We can see kind of how that's working. So we'll go one more time. See how far this takes us down. Oh no, it's doing some funky things here. That's okay. Because now that they're all pushed back in there, what we'll do, hit I for the inflate tool again. And we're just going to inflate this little section. Just like that. Little nice. Kind of see how that works, just like in there. And then smooth it out. Which will fix the little problem that we had of the faces going in the wrong directions from our layer tool. And let's see. Let's go ahead and grab the scrape tool here and just let it scrape away and create new vertices for us as it scrapes. Increase the strength a little bit. And I'm going to smooth everything down. All right, there we go. All right, and we're just gonna scrape in here, get that nice and smoothed out. There we go, just like that. Look at it from the top. Ish. Scrape that out. And from the bottom. Alright, and with that scraping done, we've pretty much got it, so just put in a little crease around the edges. This will really help out with retopology, just like before. And down here at the bottom, there we go. Crease in the four corners. And let's set the flatten brush here just to the view plane. Go like that. Create a new brush size. And just have it regenerate most of that topology just a little bit bigger. Smooth it out, and we're good. All right, so now we have the arm sockets. If we bring the legs back, we can see that the arms will fit in there, kind of just like how the Metagross's does, where it's in there, but it's you know, put in there. Jazz Wolf, welcome to the stream, man. You did oversleep, you did miss a little bit, but we're here, we're still going. You can start the stream over. We're going to continue sculpting and do some retopology, so. All right, sorry, just keep getting YouTube notifications about settings and stuff. All right, so that's pulled out now. The next thing that we want to do is get that X in here, because this X is going to determine the X is going to determine where the eyes go. So what we'll do is we will use the annotate brush again. I don't want to mirror this annotation. I don't know if it even would, but we'll take it and kind of go up like this. And that is going to be our thing, because there's actually going to be like a little, two little creases that come in right here that we want in our eyes. So mirror across the x-axis, not just the x and y. Let's remove our previous annotations. And I think this time I'm going to use the clay strips brush. Actually, you know what? We're going to use the blob brush and hold Control and blob and remove this section. But I need a little bit more strength here. So let's, again, Control, blob, and pull away this section. And for this, I'm going to turn off smooth shading. I just want to... right, there we go. We have his eyes. So actually, let's go back to layout, and I'm going to just put in, hit Shift-C, I'm going to put in now the eyes here by adding in the sphere, UV sphere. Let's tab, rotate this 90 degrees on the global x-axis. Let's turn that back to global. Scale this sucker down, move it up, and over. Get rid of those legs. Yeah, okay. So we'll then mirror this across the body object. And there we go, we have the eyes. We will fix the X when we get into the sculpting. So we should be good. Yeah, there we go. That's gonna be fine. I guess we'll just shade it smooth. There we go. We have our eye. Back into sculpting. And from the eye, go ahead and I guess now that we have it a little bit more in place, I'll beef up this area because he's just a stone. So there's not going to be any not going to be any eye ducts or anything like that. But then what we need to do, let's turn on dynamic topology and get in here and just carve away a little section of the stone and do the same thing over here, because that is how Metagross operates. And I'll just kind of beef up these two little edges here. We'll fill this in. Alright, there we go. We have the Metagross face. Let's get rid of our annotations. We're good. The X needs to be fixed, but that's okay. And then let's get in here with the pinch brush. Pinch this together. MCCM, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Alright, we'll do the same thing back here. There we go. Get in here with the crease tool because apparently I missed this in the back. There we go. Cool. So now the big piece of the puzzle is really just to scrape what we need to create our rock formation. Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoy it, and I'm glad it's therapeutic to watch. That was my intention, just a chill Saturday morning 3D art stream. people can enjoy, people can follow along if they want to, if they schedule it. All right, and we will start with the bottom here, but let's go ahead and grab the scrape tool, make sure that this is back to the view plane, good, and let's scrape it in. Get some scrapes in here. Here we go, just like that'ums. All right, and from here we'll do another scrape, something like that. Will be just fine. Smooth that out. And maybe we need to add in some peak planes here, just to You came into some trouble on your model, so you're just going to try and get some speed sculpting in before work. That's fun. What are you planning on speed sculpting? Alright, we're not going to take this one as far. I think this one will probably stay right around here. There we go, just like that. Smooth that out. We're just going to beef up this edge a little bit. There we go. And then scrape it all down. You've been having an art block for the last few months now. Your motivation to draw is low, so you only managed to do a painting yesterday. But hey, what kind of painting did you paint? And that's still pretty cool. Alright, there we go. We have some rock sculpted difficulty away. And we'll just kind of do the same thing up here again at the top. The only important part for Metagross is that that this part actually should be one solid sculpted away piece. So, same angle, one solid sculpted away piece. This is the only important piece for Metagross. And maybe I need to build it up just a bit, so we'll go back in and build it up. Oh, dynamic topology, why are you off? Austin Russell, how have you been? How have you been? You just had to recalculate the normals outside? Okay, good. Well, that's good. I'm glad you figured it out. Jazz, you painted a picture of a dog-like character with a liquid antenna and a tail. You'll post it on Discord. I look forward to seeing it on the Discord. And if you're watching and you want to join the Discord and get some announcements for the next thing, or maybe have some say in what we sculpt next, the link is in the description. I don't like that, so let's just kind of scrape this away and maybe build it back up perfectly. Smooth that out. Just trying to rough it up a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to look like kind of a rock. You're absolutely terrible, thanks for asking. At Valencia now. So I talked with Teo. Why are you doing terrible? Okay. Right, and let's just put in some final body scrapes here. Body contours, I guess. Recently undiagnosed mental illness got diagnosed and you're in way too much student loan debt. Every day is stress. That's rough, man. Are you still getting your computer science degree, at least? I know a bit about every day being stressed, though. Alright, there we go. We have that. And I guess I'm just going to kind of smooth these out, I wonder. Alright. So you're getting a degree in IT instead of, what happened to your computer science? You're not going to become a programmer, software developer? Alright, and the last little piece here that we need to sculpt still is the X. So let's go back to layout. Grab the X. And you know what? Let's go into sculpt mode, because we absolutely can sculpt it here, but let's inflate, dynamic topology, that's fine. We're going to undo, because I want my strength to be down at a 0.2. There we go. Go ahead and hide the legs. Don't really need them right now, so do something like this. Let's go ahead, grab the elastic control, elastic deform, and we're just going to bring this section up. There we go. I think that's probably good. Pull that up a little higher. Yeah. You don't know if you're going to make it through the theory. It's getting a bit too abstract in the math for you to get a handle on, plus you won't get back into the core classes until you're back at UCF. Okay. Well, as long as you get a degree and you have computer science background, you can still be a software developer. So, make sure you get a degree. Make sure you get a degree in something computer science related, and then that'll be more than enough. Okay, let's straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna get rid of the mirror here because it's not gonna do what I want. So what I am going to do is hit Shift D, duplicate, and then scale X -1, which will create a duplicated version. But then I can grab the original, add a Boolean modifier to it, union them together, grab both, and apply. And then I can delete the second one. This is going to let me be able to actually sculpt it on the left and the right at the same time and get what I need. So, real quick, dynamic topology, get in here, recreate these things. And actually, let's check the inside. Oh, no. Bummer. Now I've got to like grab the inside faces, which is not what I wanted to do. You know what? I don't. I can just leave it. Crap. Alright, whatever. Let's just undo some stuff. Do the union. How about the difference? That'll remove the piece. That's not what I want. Union. And I don't want it to create the inside at all. That's going to create a lot of inside. Dang it. Mr. Jones, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Will it have a pink beard complexion? Probably not. Alright, that's probably as clean as I'm going to get it. So let's apply it. And then immediately jump into edit mode here. And I just want to grab, switch to face select. And I guess we want to hide all of these. Delete those faces in the middle. There we go. All right, whatever. I thought I recognized that name. How you been, man? It's been a while. All right, back into sculpting. We'll just deal with it. It's fine. Dynamic topology. Get that X on. Oh, yeah. Tab. Alt H. Nope, sorry. There we go. Can I remove, like, if I just, can I remove, like, clean up? Unfortunately, I cannot. Oh well. Oh well, thought maybe it would work, but it won't. That's okay. It probably won't show up on the normals anyway. Alright, that's pretty good, I think. We just need to adjust a little bit on the eyes. I want to pull this down. I can push that eye back in there, so it's not really a problem. In fact, let's do that. There we go. I feel like that needs to stay there. All right, then I'll just beef this up. Still got a house full of kids, huh? Yelling at the neighbors, get off your lawn. Sounds like the dream. Sounds like the dream. Or a dream, at least. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe I'll dream that dream one day. What the heck, man? It's okay. Let's just symmetrize it. That'll be fine. Positive X to negative X. There we go. It cleans that up. What even good are you? There we go. There we go. Something like that. That'll be fine. And we can adjust that on the body. Go back, grab the body. There we go. All right, and it looks like we're done as far as what we need to do. So the last part that we need to model is the claw here. So let's go back to layout, bring back the legs, grab the claw, snap the cursor there, and actually let's go ahead and I'm going to delete all of those vertices and add in a new cylinder. Cylinder then can have just 8 sides, and let's go ahead and scale this way down because I don't need it to be that tall at all. We'll move it over here. That's fine. And then we're just going to make the claw shape. Scale this out a little bit. There we go. Oops. Add in a couple of loop cuts. And we'll do 3. That'll be fine. And then turn on proportional editing and scale it in. Shade it smooth. Turn on auto smoothing, increase that up. There we go. Cool. Grab the whole thing and use the spin tool, but we want to spin duplicates. So now just hit the plus button. It'll take it all the way around. We just want to do 3 steps though. That's F9 if you can't see the operator panel because I'm in the way. And then we can adjust the angle here. Like a lot. But we can do it a little bit faster if we click and go here. And then that's obviously too many. So drop that down 1 more step. Perfect. And we'll just take the angle back. Something like that. To where they're roughly even. Doesn't have to be perfect. And there we go. Now we have the claws. Alright, so we're going to shade everything smooth. These claws are way too big. Way too big. So let's take a look here. Move them up just a little bit. Turn off proportional editing. And we want to scale them down each individually. Something like that. I'm going to say that's better. But it looks like it may not be still perfect. And then I guess let's move them in towards the 3D cursor. So scale them in a little bit more. Let's hide the legs, delete these back faces. Alright, I think those are pretty big. They're big enough, I guess. So we'll just put that into the bottom here, and then we'll add the mirror modifier and mirror them like the legs. So X and Y, but across the body object. And there we go. John, you don't know the spin tool? It's pretty useful. Mr. Jones, you're lurking at work, by the way. Still work nights like a low-class Jones. Aw, man, that's a bummer. Alright, so now we need to actually just start retoping. It's going to be pretty easy to do. So we'll start with the legs first, just because they're going to be the fastest to get going. Now, I guess I'll start us out by doing some pretty basic retopology, but then I am definitely going to switch over to an add-on called Retopoflow, which is a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and select the legs. Go ahead and hide the mirror modifier for now. We can hide the eyes, the X, and we can hide the claws because we just don't need them. And we'll go ahead and hide the body. So hide everything but the legs, move the 3D cursor there, and add in a plane. Doesn't really matter what object we add in, but make sure you name that plane Retop Legs. Alright, and then we'll just actually delete everything because it doesn't matter. What we needed was the point of origin to be at the point of origin for the legs itself. So we can create a new vertex by holding Control and right-clicking with the vertex selected. Alright, so we've got two vertices there. Let's select both of them, and then we need to turn on snapping. So we're going to turn on snapping. We're going to snap to the closest face. We want to be able to project to self. We can hit align to targets, that's fine, and project individual elements. And then we can move, rotate, or scale. So I'm going to hit G, and now we can see these two vertices are in place. I am getting started now, John. So just come back, you know, when you get there, and we'll cover it. All right, and I'm going to start with like a pretty simple place to start. I think we'll be mapping out this stone. So I'm just going to place some vertices at the very like ends of the line. We're just going to do some very blocky vertex manipulation here. And I'll extrude out and place it. And extrude out. Place it. And I'm just extruding all the way around. Not worrying too much. And then I can grab both of those and hit F to fill them in and G to move. And you can actually kind of see the edge between them, but not really. That's okay. Alright, then we grab an edge and we can hit extrude as well. And I'm going to scale this. Oh, let's pull it away from the 3D cursor. We want this to be median point. So I'll scale this in just a little bit. And position these vertices a little bit better. And then, because I have a free add-on with Blender called F2, I'm just going to grab this single vertex here and hit F. And it will fill in this face for me. And do the same thing over here. We'll fill that in. Okay, now let's go ahead and make sure we've got the face orientation going in the correct way. It is blue, well, part of them are blue. So let's select it all and hit Shift in, which will recalculate those normals for us. That's going to get our face orientation correct, and now we can proceed from there and just extrude out, scale her down, and rotate and scale again so that the vertices are along the edges. I told you that edge creation was going to come in really handy. Hello from Ukraine. You like to watch my videos. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed them. That makes me really happy, actually. Alright, where's the face? Oh, what's going on here? What's up with that face? That is not the face that we want, so we'll delete that face. That's okay. And we'll fill in these two right here, just like that. Grab this one and take it to right there. And there we go. Now, we do have this weird issue because we have this extra piece here. So what I'm going to do is add in an edge loop that goes all the way around. And then I'm going to have to move each one individually so that it snaps. And we'll turn on X-ray just so I can grab and snap them all. And we can see them after I've placed them all. There we go. Okay, so now we have this vertex here, and we can take this edge and extrude out, rotate, and scale it sucker up. And then move this down here. And we can also take this one down as well, to right about there, and make sure those get filled in, and then fill in to there. And so now we can see we have this nice little cutout section for what we've got. Do I create art for some game? Not at the moment. I normally create art just because I want to create art. Yeah, it's not really I'm not a game developer any longer. I don't teach it anymore either. Okay, and then we'll go this edge to fill in there and fill in there. Perfect. Alright, and if we hide our leg, we can see that our retopped leg is looking like that. We've already got one stone mapped, and that's pretty much how Retopology goes the rest of the way. So, now that I've shown you guys how to do Retopology, let me show you guys a really cool tool here for creating quick and easy retops. It's called Retopoflow. It's available on Blender Market, but it is like 80 bucks. But if you do constant retopology, this is going to be super helpful for you. Okay, so now we have these vertices in here. And actually, it looks like we don't have access to all of them just because of the way that the program created them, or maybe the way that they were snapped to the surface. So let's actually exit Retopoflow, check the modifiers. You know, we don't have any shrink wrap or anything like that. Let's select everything And I'm just going to scale it a little bit and move it on the y-axis. Let's turn off snapping. GY. We'll just move it out just a little bit so I can see all of these vertices. Yeah, okay, there we go. Scale just a little bit. And I will put them back into place with Retopoflow. So we'll just turn on Retopoflow again. And now I can access everything so I can put them back where they belong. Real easy. Really? You're not going to let me select that? Oh, that's dumb. Because it's behind the leg. Okay. I guess that makes sense. There we go. Okay, that is proving to be more difficult than I wanted it to be, so let's just delete it and start over. Really easy, no biggie. We'll just hold Control and create a new vertex, vertex, face, boom. Oh, let's undo that one. Grab from here. Snap. Place. Okay. And just with these real quick movements, you can see that I'm just really easily able to create the faces that I need to create. Alright, then I need a loop, so I can just add in a loop, and because it's Retopoflow, it automatically snaps it to where I need it to be, which is great, because now I can just click and drag and place, click and drag and place. There we go. Now, normally when you're doing retopology, you want to make sure that you are working on like a, you want to make sure that you're working with mostly quads, but if something's not going to deform, it's okay if you have some triangles here and there. Especially when you're working with like rocks and stuff, you're going to end up with a lot of triangles, and that's okay. Alright, and it's important to just kind of block out the larger areas first, so don't try to get too detailed if you're working on a larger model like this. Just try to get the main faces covered, and then you can always add detail, but it's really hard to just take away detail after you've gotten everything kind of up and running. Alright, then we're going to just take this one around, something like that will be okay, because then we can go up just like this. All right, and because we have those creases, we're going to make sure there's an edge in that crease. We'll take it to here and here. Something like that. Yeah. Make sure that's placed. Okay. Now you can clearly see, you know, it's not going to cover the whole thing, so we will have to add in some extra detail. But like I said, you really just want to cover the large areas first, as much as you can, and then you can add in your extra pieces of geometry. Do something like that. That's going to be the centerpiece. There we go. We'll take that around. I'm definitely going to need an edge loop running here because I've got an edge there. So let's actually go ahead and delete these faces. And then we will start again over here. And just map this out. Angel Luna, thanks for subscribing. It's very much appreciated. Take that there, and then maybe go right here. There we go. And that fixed our problem with not needing to add an additional edge loop. That's going to work out just nicely for us. Now we will need some additional edge loops in here, so that's fine. So we'll just go ahead and create the smaller faces. Now, because we know we're going to need an extra edge loop here, that's fine. We'll put it there. Grab the poly pen and connect those two vertices instantaneously, as long as they touch. And I really can't stress this enough. If you are doing any type of retopology in Blender, Retopoflow really is the best tool out there. Hashtag not sponsored. Add in a loop here just to connect those two. There we go. we'll take this to the center. Like that. Let's go ahead and dissolve that edge. That's fine. There we go. Okay. You know what? I'm going to combine these. Let's delete this face. Yeah, that'll work. Now, if I did that correctly, that does go all the way around. Yeah. Cool, so that edge loop did connect the way that I wanted it to, which is actually, I kind of feel like that's quite impressive. There we go. There we go, all the way around, all the way around. Good. There we go. Maybe we'll take this one down a little bit, just so that, take that to the edge. Because this one is going to have to connect down here. Yeah, which that's fine, actually. Cool, so now I can go all the way around. That actually needs to have an extra vertex around here just so it doesn't cut through that face. But now I can go all the way around and have quad loops like I want. So we'll take this all the way to the base. Alright, and I know I'm going to need another edge loop here because the size of our mesh is changing, as we can see. So let's just add in an extra loop right there. That'll be fine. And then maybe one more right up here. Yeah, now they have the same amount of faces on each side. All right. Now, the next step we'll do is go around and create the arm here. Which that is now 6 vertices, so let's connect them up a little bit better. Or we'll add in 2 more. So alright, we'll grab the relax brush a little bit. Actually, let's grab the tweak. And I can just kind of pull these where I want them to go. Take it to the base. And then with the contours brush, got 9 here. Okay, I don't need 9, I want 8. So I guess we'll dissolve this edge. And move this one over. There we go. With the contours brush, all we have to do is make some snaps. There we go. There we go. Well, that is just not going to work. Alright, looks like I'll have to manually tweak this. Oh man, this got all sorts of messed up. Welcome back, Jazz. Alright, let's check out some loops here. We need to just kind of add in these additional loops. There we go. Hold on. What loop did I just add? Don't need one there. Okay. Cool. Cool. I got 24. And we'll just hit tab, exit. Yep. And then face, grid fill. No. Aw, man. Oh, man. I think I just lost that data. Frick. All that work. Let's see if I can find it. Well, I didn't save the work. Oof. Oh man, that's a lot of work to redo. Well, that's such a bummer. because that's it. That's all that exists right now. Well, we have two options. You've seen the whole sculpt, and you've seen part of the retopology, and I just lost all of the retopo work that I had done, which is not fantastic. So this is our Metagross. And I had planned to go further than this, but with losing all that retopo work, it's looking like it's not going to go any further. So with that said, guys, we're going to kill it here. But you've seen how the retop works. You've seen how you can get it done. Yeah, man, I do feel my soul leaving my body right now. I can't believe I didn't. I don't know how. I don't even know how I lost it all. Like, I just went out of edit mode. That's all I did. And now, yeah, I can't get it back. Weird. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what happened. But what I know for sure is that this is Metagross. And he has been sculpted, and he was partially retopped, and then Blender decided to be stupid and did not give me a thing. So let's pretend for a second that I retopped him, and then we baked some stuff. And so, you know, here's the original version, and then we baked on the detail from our sculpt and painted him, and this is what we ended with. We're just gonna pretend today because Blender lost all my retopology, and I was gonna show you guys the entire process, but you get the point. You get the point. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, guys, listen, I had a lot of fun this morning. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. It's the second time something's gone wrong on the joy of 3D art, so maybe I need to take another look at my system, make sure everything is good. But we're going to go ahead and call it for the day. So thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till next time.